What's going on, family? This is PNP. This is your boy Dave. Shout out to Rashad. And we're going to get into this whole ordeal about why I think tight ends are a wasteland in fantasy. But before we get into that, man, you need to make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. And you can get 20% off using the code PNP at manscaped.com. Once again, 20% off if you use the code PNP at manscaped.com. And you get free shipping as well. So without further ado, let's get into why I think the tight ends are a wasteland. So I think the big thing about the tight end position is that when you start thinking about most leagues, you got to have one, but there's a big gap between like the top three guys and everybody else. And I'm going to have a chart to show you that so you can get an understanding of why I think it's a wasteland. Um, the big thing about the tight end position is it's not as important as you think it is. I think unless you get one of the big three, that's the only time you're going to have a distinct advantage. But to get the big three, you're going to have to draft at a very you're going to have to draft you have to take them very high. You know, and that could potentially put you in a rough spot with regards to running back or wide receiver. Your depth will definitely be at risk, but sometimes it might be worth it if you can get a Travis Kelsey or a Darren Waller or a George Kittle. It might be worth it then. But then again, if they get hurt, it's going to be damaging to your team because you gave up you had to use up some high real estate to get those guys. And I'm going to show you you'll see the numbers and then you'll understand the pros and cons. So here are the fantasy stats from last year. I ranked this one by fantasy points. So as you can see, and I also gave you the flex rankings. Once again, the flex ranking is the running back, wide receiver, and tight ends all combined into one. So for example, Travis Kelsey was the seventh best flex player in fantasy. That means there were only six other players that were running back, wide receiver, or tight end that had more points than him last season. Okay, and now when you think about his ADP, his average draft position, 20th, that ain't a bad spot to take him if you got an opportunity to take him. So you're talking into the second, get in the third round. That's not bad. If you can get him there, that's a steal. I think he's worth that. Um, and as you can see by the point total, he's well and beyond everybody else in the crew, right? Darren Waller was the closest one, and he was about 40 points, a little less than 40 points behind him. All right. So from that standpoint, but last year you were able to get Darren Waller in the seventh at the beginning of the seventh round and in the sixth round. You're not going to have that luxury this year. He's going to probably be the second or third tight end taken. Some people might hesitate on Kittle because of the injuries, but they probably won't. But the bottom line is Kelsey, Waller, and Kittle will be the first three taken. And then after you get past that, it drops dramatically. You're talking about a 100-point gap. And at that point, you could probably just wait it out. So pay attention to these point totals, particularly about Logan Thomas and Robert Tonyan. Those are the third and fourth best tight ends in fantasy last season. Neither one were drafted. That's what the players that are highlighted in blue were not drafted in essence. Because if you got an ADP of 359, I mean you're talking 160 picks. So in most leagues, so if you got an ADP of like 359, you probably weren't drafted. All right, and Dalton Schultz, same thing. I mean, he had an ADP of 413. He was 11th best tight end in fantasy. Most of these folks were in the top 100 overall for flex in flex, which is good. But look at where you can get them. You're talking Noah Fant. You're talking 12th round, 11th, 12th round. You're talking Hayden Hurst, 7th, 8th, 9th round. Like, so you can wait a little bit. Like I probably, unless Kelsey falls to me at the end of the second, beginning of the third round. I mean, if you take Kelsey in the second, it's not especially if you decide to go to zero RB strategy, and I do have a video on that, or will, depending on when these gets released. So when you think about the fact that Kelsey's probably worth it in the second round, but it's a risk. But it also gives you a distinct advantage every week in that position. So it might be worth it. Excuse me. it definitely might be worth it from that standpoint. But as you see, there's 3 guys that weren't even drafted in this list, and I'm kind of shocked at how high Gronkowski's ADP is. When I started doing the research, I was kind of stunned by it. I wasn't shocked by everybody else's. Like a lot of folks had Mark Andrews pretty high, but considering where he went, I mean, I guess he did okay. Waller would have been a better pick at that point, but hindsight's 2020, right? But now here's the gap. So here's the guys that were that had a higher ADP, average draft position, than some of the folks that made the top 12. Like George Kittle, I think George Kittle is always going to be a top 3 fantasy tight end, but he got hurt. Zach Ertz, a lot of folks took him pretty high. Some people took him higher than Darrell Waller, but that didn't work out. I mean, a lot of folks had a lot of hype in Evan Ingram. He did okay. Tyler Higbee, he did okay. Cook, he did okay. But the bottom line is, man, when you talk about the tight end wasteland, and I'll go back to this previous slide. I mean, the only guys you're going to take super early is going to be Kelsey, Waller, and Kittle. Everybody else, you probably should just wait it out because it's hard to guess. Unless you see a situation where you know for a fact that the tight end is going to be the third option, then maybe you might be willing to go a little bit earlier. But overall, you could probably wait it out, man. Just wait it out because it's hard to tell. It's a guessing game. I mean, the third and fourth best tight ends in fantasy didn't even get drafted, and everybody else, they did well, but you could get these guys super late. It's a crapshoot after the top 3. You're just guessing. I mean, Kyle Pitts is going to be part of this equation too next year. And I did a video talking about the rookie tight ends, and I think that's the only one I'll be willing to draft unless there's a lot of injuries at the position. Most teams that took tight ends already had one. So from that standpoint, it's just the way it is, man. We're sitting in the tight end wasteland. After like week 3 or 4, you can start streaming them. I've won fantasy championship streaming tight ends. Because if I don't get Kelsey, if I don't get one of the big 3, and every year there's a different big 3, but as of late, I think Kelsey he's going to be the consistent guy. Like Darren Waller, he could have the potential to be it too, but we'll see. Kittle, he will be there, but everybody else is just going to be a debate. Like, I mean, some people might say Dallas Goedert might have a shot, but it's a crapshoot. You're guessing. Mark Andrews might bounce back for the Ravens. T.J. Hockenson might get interesting, but new quarterback. So it's just a lot, man. It's overall it's just a crapshoot. Noah Fant is going to be interesting, but Noah Fant we don't know who the star quarterback is going to be. Hunter Henry's in New England now. How's that going to be with Cam? Jonnu Smith is also there, so it's just crapshoot. So fantasy wasteland, man. That's where I see it all the time when it comes to the tight end position. You can shoot for the stars with the tight ends if you want. But I don't think it's worth it overall. I think after Kelsey, Waller, and Kittle's gone, kind of need to just wait this one out. Focus on getting more depth in the running back and wide receiver positions. Maybe even take a quarterback. If you see a quarterback fall that you like, go ahead and take your chances there. But from that standpoint, I would absolutely hold off on taking tight ends unless you get Kelsey, Kittle, or Waller. All right, man. That's all I got for you guys today, man. So with that being said, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Follow us on Twitter at PantherNationPC. Follow me on Twitter at ChampD1012. And always remember, keep pounding.